What's up? This is Mike Leon from Soulfly in the Absence, and you're burning up on Hellbound.
What's going on, everybody? It's your pal Mean Gene from Hellbound. I'm at the UC Berkeley Theater, and I'm here tonight being joined by my homie, Mr. Mike Leon. How you doing, brother?
Great, dude. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too, man. Always good time to catch up. And now you're out here with Soulfly. You're doing your thing, man, with your magic fucking fingers. 32 dates. You barely had a day off yesterday. What'd you do with your day off?
Recovered.
Yeah?
Just did some laundry and ate some ribs. You know, enjoyed the time off, the solitude. It was nice to get out of the bus and like away from everybody for just like a few hours, just meditate for a second. But
Bring
awesome.
Some fresh air, right?
Yes, absolutely. It gets crazy in the hallway, you know, so.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Now you got a few more dates to go. You've never been to the UC Theater before?
No, this is my first time here. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's got good sound quality here up at the UC Theater. Now you're headed down to LA, and then you swing around. Is it a typical, you're ending up in Arizona? Is that where this ends?
I think we're in Arizona in about a week or maybe less, and then we still have about 5 or 6 shows on our way out towards Texas, and then through Texas. We end in Houston, I think is the last show.
Nice. Now I know from following the Soulfly tribe on the Instagram, you guys basically have already pretty much put your finishing touches on the album number 11, right? Soulfly 11, is that right?
That's right.
It's in the producer's hands. Is it getting mixed, or how close is it to being released?
Yeah, it's getting mixed right now. Josh is taking his time with it. We're hoping to get released by the end of the year, but you know, it's still in a pretty prepubescent stages of being mixed and stuff, but everything is sounding incredible right off the board, and the songs are really strong. It's my first performance with Max on an album, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, you were a little late to the party on Archangel, right?
Yeah, Archangel. Tony did all of the bass on the album, and then I played all of the shows for the cycle. So.
Gotcha. So this is your first trip down memory lane, making memories with Max on a record, huh?
Yeah, it was awesome, and working with Josh Wilbur was killer too. It was really cool being out there, and yeah. Now
I know we've talked before, you know, and you were a huge Max fan growing up, and I was, man. Just walk us through that a little bit. What was it like? For those that don't know, Mike was part of Havoc for a few years there and put out a great record with them, and then he got into the Soulfly camp, and he's never looked back. What's that like working with Max and Gloria Cavalera?
It was really smooth to like meet these people, and we're very like-minded, and it worked almost immediately. Like when we toured together when I was playing with Havoc those years ago, we were friends immediately. Like I would get to the venue and just walk up on the bus whenever, you know, and just say what's up to everybody. And we were always close. We remained in contact all those years, and you know, now we play together every night, and it's just a trip to hear. Like sometimes I still freak out when I hear Max coming through my wedge, and or he comes over and like taps me in the shoulder or something like that, and I'm like, oh, it's Max. You know, it's like some pinch me moments every once in a while. Yeah. You know, it's cool. It's really cool.
Now, speaking of pinch me moments, let's take it back to, was it earlier this year? Was it December of last year? You were with the tribe over in Europe, and you weren't playing, but they were doing their Roots cycle, if I'm not mistaken. And unfortunately, Mark Rizzo, guitar player, had to tend to some family emergency, and all of a sudden, Papa Max comes up and says, "Mike, you're playing guitar tomorrow."
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? Take me through that. You never played the Root stuff.
I'm not even a guitar player, really.
Yeah. Oh.
You know, I've never really played with a pick either. So I've been like a 4-string bass player my whole life. To go to playing a 7-string, you know, with a pick, doing leads. I mean, there's like noises and stuff on the album. It's probably one of the only albums I could have, by the skin of my teeth, gotten away with playing guitar. But it was fun, and like I just had to cram. I had those songs in my sleep. I learned the whole set in 8 hours in Berlin, Germany, and I couldn't sleep for like the first week. It was just like riffs over and over in my dreams, haunting me. But I mean, to be up there on stage with Max and Igor, like that was crazy. I was actually just listening to some of the Roots album, like having flashbacks to being on stage and like rocking with Igor, and then looking over at Max and all of us doing like our telekinesis or whatever, telepathy. So it was cool, man.
Now that first show, man, were you shitting bricks or what? I mean, how I mean, I've seen you play, half a dozen times, and you were by far one of the smoothest characters, man. You just get up there and you do your work, no big deal. Total fish out of water situation, man. Well, I mean, what was running through your mind?
A lot of anxiety, absolutely. But it was cool because like the anxiety mostly for me is just to make sure that I did some justice for Rizzo for one thing, and to make sure that it was really empowering to feel Max and Igor and Tony's and Glow's like confidence in me. I actually had a pep talk with Igor and his wife right before the set, and he was like, "You're gonna kill it, bro. You're gonna kill it." And I was just like, "I have to kill it." Like,
what choice do you have? Right?
I really didn't have a choice, man. Just like thrown to the wolves, but ended up being a really good tour. Loved touring with those Overkill guys. We had a blast, and the shows were crazy. Just the whole experience was insane. To go from like a roadie, I go out there as a roadie usually, and they got that call and decisions had to be made. So I became roadie turned guitar player / also bassist, trying to play guitar. Yeah. But
I remember talking to you the next morning, and you were just like glowing, dude. You were just like, I can't believe I did it. Now I'm going to have to do it every night,
Yeah, for like 2 or 3 weeks. It was crazy. I look back on it and it was nuts, like having to do leads and just interlock with Tony Campos, which is like, how else would I ever get to play in a band with Tony? We're both bass players, Yeah. But to like, and I grew up listening to his music, and like, same as Max and Igor, so to have all those dudes just to be the four of us on stage was like unbelievable for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Now coming up to speed here as of recent, you have another band that you're with, and I don't want to call it a side project or anything, but it's Absence, right?
Absence, yeah.
And now you guys just released a new album, right? Just a month or two ago, maybe?
Yeah, in March, we released our new album called A Gift for the Obsessed, and it's our first album in 8 years. Yeah. So we're pretty proud of that. We're actually extremely proud of that, and this was actually the band that springboarded me in my entire career. When I was 19 years old, these dudes gave me a shot playing bass with them, and I did about, I couldn't even tell you, the first 8 years of my career touring with them, and that's how I met Havoc, and that's how I got in with the Havoc guys, and that's how I've just met a lot of my friends and my peers throughout this journey. It's just been crazy.
For those not familiar with the Absence, what vein, what genre would you say it's closest to for people to relate?
We pride ourselves on our Swedish like melodic death metal influence, so that's kind of in the vein of Arch Enemy, Old at the Gates, and
At the Gates. That's a good one.
Old in Flames, like the first 4 handful albums, like really good melodic death metal, very At the Gatesy. Like I love it. It was one of my favorite kinds of music because there's like the technical proficiency, but it also grooves and the soaring melodies and stuff like that. It's cool. It's very empowering.
Nice. Now I know we talked about it a little bit, but I guess the band's going out on tour here shortly to support the new record. Is that right?
Yeah, we're trying to organize a short run in this fall. Actually coming up here in July and August. I don't want to spoil it, but it should be pretty cool. Like the bands that we're talking with are good bands. They're great bands and good dudes. So I'm unfortunately not going to be able to do the tour, but we're still trying to organize it so that we can get a good tour for the promotion of the album and whatnot.
And that's prior commitment to the mighty Soulfly, right? You said you got a ton of Europe stuff coming up, right?
Yeah, we're playing some pretty serious festivals in Europe and a lot of club shows for about 8 weeks, starting in June and ending in like the middle of August. So we're going to be gone for a while.
Any like Bloodstocks or anything mixed in there? Any good big festivals and people might have heard of before?
Yeah, we're doing With Full Force in Germany. Nice. We're doing Copenhagen, nice. Which is one of the best ones. We're doing a bunch of shows in Belgium and Germany. We're doing a few I think we haven't announced yet in the UK. One of which is Boomtown, which is it's like a massive, one of the biggest festivals. We're playing with like Gorillaz, Die Antwoord, and Limp Bizkit and stuff. So it should be crazy. I think Napalm Death's playing the same day as us, so that'll be a fun one.
Now, trying to bring it around here a little bit. You were telling me about some special head that you're having made. Tell the people out there who you're running with as far as gear setup and stuff.
Well, I've been playing ESP now for about 10 years. Coming up, I think next year is the actual 10-year anniversary playing with them. But I've been playing PV amps for about 5 years now, ever since I joined up with the Havoc guys. And at NAMM this year, I had the privilege of meeting Michael Anthony from Van Halen. One of my hugest influences growing up. Like, my dad was always raging Van Halen. And he was a super cool dude. He's coming out with his new line of heads of amplifiers that match his cabinets now. And I complimented his at NAMM, and he was like, oh, he was like, you liked it? And I was like, yeah, I loved it. You know, it's incredible. And he was like, he looks at my rep, Mario, and he goes, make sure he gets one. And I was like, you heard the boss, you know? So I called on that and claimed on that. So I'm really excited to be picking that thing up.
Nice.
Yeah, it's an honor to be playing Mike Anthony's signature stuff. So
that's dream come true status right there, right?
Full circle, yeah. I told my dad, I showed my dad the picture I had with him, and he was like, "Get the fuck out of here." Yeah.
That was my reaction when I saw you in the picture with I believe it was Steve Harris.
The Steve Harris.
The
Steve, master of all bass.
Oh man, Mr. Gallup himself, right?
He's the boss, dude.
Yeah. Now, since we've never had a chance to talk before, I always like to ask people the old desert island question. Your answer may be different tomorrow or even an hour from now, but if you're stuck out there on the desolate island, what 3 albums are you taking with you, man?
3 albums. Oh my. Definitely, probably like Lateralis by Tool. I think I could listen to that album my entire life. Oh man. Kill 'Em All would probably be another one for me. And a third one, self-titled Rage Against the Machine.
Wow, man.
I think I could probably like rebuild a civilization with those 3 albums. Yeah.
That is the first time that I think I've ever had any of those albums mentioned, man. That's pretty diverse.
Yeah, that's like, I don't know, stuff. I consider those albums an album that you can put on and start on the first song and let it play the entire album. Like they used to be, you know, it was like a story. It was like a vision, you know, like a whole purpose behind the album, and I like that. Yeah. It's definitely Desert Island material. Approved. Yes,
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Well, if you haven't seen them, Soulfly, Nile, and got 10 more dates or so, maybe something like that, coming through West Coast, headed to Texas. If you haven't got out and seen this tour and they're coming your way, get out there and support heavy metal and support heavy music, man. Fucking hell.